The Padres did very well on their road trip through Boston and Texas. The stars are bright and big at night for Profar, Jackson Merrill, and so many others. It's time with Padres Talkin Padres. Everybody, and welcome to Padres Talkin Padres, your favorite podcast exclusively hosted by real-life fathers or Padres. Happy 4th of July, everybody.
Happy 4th, man. Happy
Especially
4th.
people in England.
Yeah. Sorry, King George.
Yeah. We didn't have to work
about it.
today. How was your day?
Anyway, gentlemen, wow. I think, Jerry, I think you and I said 3-3. Jack, I think you said 4-2. I didn't see. I would have just been happy with a 500 road trip. I think, Jerry, you said the same thing. But hey, our Padres put together some darn good wins. What are we feeling, Jerry? What's your thoughts coming out?
Yeah, it kind of went what I thought. I mean, 3-3, 4-2, 2-4. They're all pretty close. But I really was shocked at how they took on Boston the first two games. And I hate to say it, but I almost saw Sunday coming. Like,
sure.
Yeah, here we go. We tend to do that a lot. You know, you just kill them for two games, and then you just lose the bats the next game, and the next game, and then you come back and you start playing again. So,
well, it was
still a little inconsistent.
The third game, so of course.
Yeah. Poor Waldron. You texted Jack to me. It's like, and you're right. It's like that. Mark Grant always says this. There's always one guy on the pitching staff that doesn't get run support. And you could go to every team and find that guy that pitches great and just doesn't get the support.
Yeah, and it's him.
It is him.
And it wasn't a pitch terribly, but you could clearly see, because usually so steely-eyed and steel-faced, you could tell it was emotional for him. And even his post-game interview, you could see the emotion, you know, because Tim Wakefield was somebody that gave him advice as he was developing his knuckleball, and so clearly it impacted him in a way that kind of showed up on
because
the field.
he never shows emotion.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what.
Even when he's not pitching.
Very, very somber guy. I mean, he contains himself, and you know, we talk about how it's great to have the Profars and the Tatises and guys like that on the team. I think it's just as important to have the guys that are a little bit more level-headed, somber, things in perspective. I think that's what makes their clubhouse click.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you guys have noticed, every interview, post-game interview, every one of them starts about the team.
Yes.
Yeah. Every one of them.
And that hasn't happened in a while.
Profar,
Peralta. I mean, I try to think of the last 3 or 4 interviews, but the bottom line is they all start with, I'm just doing whatever I can to help this team win.
Yeah. That's a Schilt thing. That's very much a Schilt thing.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. For better, I mean, you know, I think we kind of give Bob Melvin a hard time, but, you know, this is very much Mike Schilt's Padres, and they very much have a team first approach, even though they do, to your point, Jerry, have people that wear their heart on the sleeve, wear the emotion on their sleeve, and kind of bring it. And then to your point, there's people that are more reserved.
I'm okay.
But I there was a lot to like from this series. Let's start from Texas and work our way back to Boston, I guess. But you know, after losing that first game, I was like, oh my God, are we gonna go maybe just win, you know, the King game? Right? A little bit of a roller coaster.
Honestly, I was very concerned in going to because they just looked they looked worse on Monday than they did or Tuesday. Was it Tuesday?
It was Tuesday and Monday off. Yeah.
They just looked flat. I'm like going, man, they had 2 hits. And I'm like going, I go, God, they don't even look like I go, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, the roller coasters are going to come out flat. And they did a little bit yesterday. Then they started to pick it up. And then the bullpen was outstanding.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about I feel like yesterday's offense, that was a team win that was capped with Peralta's season-saving home run. We all said he was cooked, and then he gets a home run. He got a hit today, too. But Jerry, it seems like you had thoughts about yesterday's game.
No, you know, it's always good to win close games. You know, you don't want every game to be close, and I thought they did a good job of ramping up. Kind of to Jack's point on Tuesday, though, every once in a while I will give a caveat to Evaldi looked unhittable. He looked really, really good. You know, so you're going to run into those guys every once in a while. You know, and quite honestly, I was a little skeptical about Scherzer going today, and I'm like, oh crap. But if you remember a few years back, we had some great success against him in the playoffs. Hitting the home run ball.
We've done pretty good against him over the years.
Right.
Yeah.
And we didn't scrape him up a whole lot today, but enough to get him out of there after at least 6 innings. You know, and oh, they did. Yeah, Kim
home run robbing Kim.
Yeah. Well, Langford's their Merrill. I mean, come on, the guy's got all the talent in the world. And I think that's what you always recognize as a baseball fan. You got to sometimes step away from being just a Padre fan and say, look, every team's got studs. You know, so I think we all would agree it doesn't bother you nearly as much when you get beat by a stud as it does from the whole team up and down the lineup, or some guy that's got a 6 ERA, because that was the big thing back at the beginning of the season. If you guys remember going to Colorado, these guys all had 6 ERAs and we couldn't get a hit.
Yeah.
That's when it bothers me. Yeah.
But again, I think these were team wins. Like it was a pitcher duel, and we won it. We eked out enough runs. Bullpen held as best as they could. King pitched a great game, and you had Solano, who what a pickup and add to this team. Like we were watching the game today, Jack and I, and it was just like, the guy's a pro. Like, he can't run to home. He was so slow, but great bats.
I turned to Jay after his second double. I said, how is this guy still sitting out there with nobody signing him?
Yeah.
I go, he's not somebody I want starting every day.
Right.
But 4 times a week, 3 times a week, he's a pro. He knows how to hit. He works the count. Yeah. I said, because someone posted on Twitter that, him and Profar are making $2 million.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about it, guys. You need a bench that you can depend on. I mean, we can sit here and do all the comparisons, and we have. The bottom line is the difference between last year's team and this year's team is the depth. I mean, it is just huge this year compared to where it's been. I feel comfortable with any one of those players getting out there now. And, I mean, any of them. 100%. I mean, I agree with you, Jack. I'm not saying, hey, let's run Bryce Johnson or Peralta out there 7 days a week. But when these guys step in, I don't sit there and go, oh crap, it's going to be one of those games. We got these 2 guys at the bottom of the lineup, and that's the sure 2 outs, And we proved, or they proved last year, that was to the detriment of the team, that you just can't have 3 outs at the bottom of the lineup. Most of our rallies have been started by the second half of the lineup, and it's not like the first half of the lineup is sucking. It's just they're doing that much.
That's the difference, right? Is if you have the back half of the lineup start a rally, then you turn over the lineup back to Arise and Profar and Cronenworth.
That's why I still like Merrill down. That's why I still like Merrill down the lineup, because he does seem to get a lot of things started at the bottom. But I understand today we were sitting Cronenworth. We had to have a good number 3 bat. My only problem with guys like Peralta is, like I said, he was terrible defensively yesterday. I mean, that he just
made a great play today, though.
He made a great play today, but yesterday he was slow. Right, he's running for the ball, and then he lobs it to Cronenworth. And I told Jay today, I said the problem is, they wouldn't even have attempt to score if Tatis was out there.
Yeah,
they don't.
But that's your starting all-star.
Yeah, but I go Peralta. I like him more as a DH. But I understand we got holes in the outfield right
DHs,
now. I get it, but he just doesn't have the arm strength, and I'm one that I love defense. Yeah, and I want to see, and it did cost us some runs, and it did. And when you have a rookie pitcher out there who's been struggling, you can't give the team extra outs. And
I give the team credit,
but he came through and hit the home run. So shut up, Jack.
No, I think you're right. I do think you're right, Jack. I mean, look, injuries, if anything, have caused a leakage of our defense more than our offense.
Yeah.
We got guys, not maybe playing their primary position because of all the changes that we're having to make with all the injuries. I mean, we just got Machado back and Tatis goes out,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. They're kind of making up for it whenever they can, how they can. Everybody chipping in. To your point, Jay, these last 4 or 5 games that they've won have been more team orientated than rather than just. I mean, we went through the Profar, and we went through the Tatis, and we've gone through the Machado and the Merrill, and they've all kind of like singularly put everybody on their shoulders, and they've carried the team. These last week or 2 weeks have just been fun to watch because it's like, who's it going to be today?
Yeah,
somebody different every day. Yeah, exactly.
Well, yesterday we're stealing bases, which I love.
Yeah,
we're hitting and running. We're running on the pit. I love that type of baseball.
Yeah,
and I said, and that's how we won.
Yeah,
we were moving runners around. So
yeah, exactly. And that's where, even though we've had all of these injuries, the fact we're 5 games above 500 is incredible, right?
Right.
We've been playing better without Tatis. Now, I'm not saying to start anything.
Yeah.
Don't be that guy.
I would.
Well, you said it last week, though, Jay. So
I know. Well, that's what they say. That's. But the thing is,
I'd rather have Tatis in the lineup because we're a far superior team with.
And we were playing great with Tatis because we were crushing with Tatis as well. But the thing is, like, if you put it on paper, we're down Darvish, we're down Musgrove, we're down Tatis, we're down Bogarts, right?
Who's coming back? Yeah.
He's coming back. He's doing his rehab
Campusano.
assignment. And today was it today?
Campusano.
Down Campy. But we're still 5 games above 500. I think that's incredible. I think in today's AC Daily, talked about, our offense is fine, bullpen's hanging in there. It's the starting pitching that is the thing that could probably, crash this whole ship. Because I think we've had 24 games where we've given up 3 runs in the first 3 innings, which the only teams we're slightly better than in that are the Marlins, A's, and Colorado Rockies, which is not a category or grouping of teams you want to be in. But somehow we've won, I think 8 out of, it's like 8 and 16 in those games, which is still not great, but we've been able to be resilient in those. But you can't count on always coming back and backing up these bad starts that we've had. So that needs to change at some point post.
Well, Cease needs to get whatever in his head cleared out, and again, he is. People said he was the right-handed Blake Snell. He is. You just sit there and look at him and go, "What? You have phenomenal stuff. What is going on? Why are you throwing it right down the middle of the plate?" He does get frustrated when the umpires don't give him a call that he thinks he should have got. I mean, I get it. That is frustrating, but you have to go, all right, screw it. I got to get this guy out.
Yeah, for a semi-veteran player, I think he's got about 5 or 6 years, So, I mean, long enough.
Yeah.
It's kind of bothersome to see him react like he does. And it's not just one game. It's pretty much all the games. And I get, we all get the frustration because, yes, there was a crucial pitch that got called the ball. And then, of course, the next guy hit a home run. And there you go, But there was a stat today, I believe, and I'm just estimating, but it was something like the Padres are 36-8 when they score first. 36-8. When you're giving up the 2 or 3 runs, that this just goes totally against the way we best perform.
Yeah,
and I'm sure that's pretty the same across the board for most of baseball. But it just shows the importance of just saying, hey. There's 2 things. Number one, try to be the first one to score, especially on the road, because you get the first at bat. If you can put something on the board, automatic pressure. The second one is, and Mark Grant always talks about that, you put a couple on the board, you got to put a 0 on the board the next inning. Right. I mean, it's just deflating when you go out and score a couple runs and then you allow 2 or 3 and you're like, wow.
Which happened yesterday.
Yeah. It's deflating, So, it's hard to sit there and watch Vasquez and Mazier do the best that they can and know that, doggone it, we've got 2 All-Stars sitting on the IL, waiting, hopefully, that they'll come out. But now you're starting to go, okay, is Musgrove even going to come back this year? Is Darvish? I mean, Darvish is 37. Even if he comes back, how long will it be before he goes back on the IL?
Well, before it was his groin or hamstring.
Yeah.
And then the reason he's on there now is because of his elbow. I go,
Yeah.
well, when did this happen?
Yeah.
You know, it's the Padres kind of, you know, they don't give you the truth. And like I said, without Darvish and Musgrove, we have to make a trade for a pitcher. I mean, it doesn't have to be a star. It doesn't have to be, because I've even said, I put in a text yesterday, what if this White Sox
must be some fireworks.
What the
fireworks? Yeah.
It's Eric Feta, whatever his name is for the White Sox. He's been basically just an below average pitcher, but he's having a really good year.
Yeah,
I'm sure we can get him cheap. We don't have to, because there was a stat the broadcast put up yesterday, little in the box yesterday. They do like Apple TV does.
Yeah,
and they said Jackson Merrill is the first rookie for the Padres to win Rookie of the Month, not Rookie of the Year, Rookie of the Month since 2003 when Xavier Nady did it. I went, holy crap, 21 years?
Yeah. Yeah.
I go, we're not talking Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
We're talking Rookie of the Month. I go, we haven't had a rookie that, and I started thinking, I go, you know, I guess not. I guess not, because we trade them all away, or they just don't produce like we want them to.
Well, we've only had two in the history of the Padres. You know, you had Benito Santiago, I think it was in like 92 or something like that. And then you had Butch Metzger.
Yeah.
He was a co-rookie of the year.
With Raleigh Eastwick, I think.
Something like that. Yeah, but, you know, again, we probably bled this one dry, but it's worth repeating. The farm system needs to grow. You know, the same article that Jay was talking about with AC said, we've kind of lost our depth in the farm system, so there's not really a whole lot you can do. Now, having said that, not knowing the health of those two, if we had to go all the way through the end of the year, I still think we got this. Still think we have the stuff to do it. Oh, it's just feeling like you're on the fine edge, though. That's the problem, because now, if you get an injury, now where are you going to go?
Yeah, you're toast.
Yeah,
because Mosier, whatever his name is.
Yeah, Mazur. Yeah,
Mazur. I like him. I think he has good stuff, but he's just not ready.
Well, he's a rookie. He's there and there, here and there, and he's, you know, he pitched a pretty good game the other day, and again, you know, he kind of reminds me of Waldron when he first started. You know, we were like, oh my gosh, can't we do better than this? Well, you got to give him a chance to grow a little bit.
Yeah, but I don't want to be.
He's not filling out the bill like he was advertised, because the big thing about Mazur that was written well before he came up is this guy's a control guy. I mean, he doesn't walk anybody, and he's walking everybody. And part of that is he's probably a little scared, a little nervous, pitching to major leaguers, and he's trying to be too fine. Again, rookie mistake 101, you know, come up, change the way you are because you think you got to throw it harder or you got to be pinpoint. And it's like, no, trust your stuff.
I just don't want his confidence get shattered like Ryan Weathers.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly the Padres, I mean, they didn't have a choice, but we've talked about, you know, on and on and on. I hate when young guys are getting, when they're not succeeding, at least, you know, like, because he had a really good game when he came up the first game against the Angels. And he's kind of struggled back and forth. Like I said, first two innings yesterday, he's just mowing them down. Yeah. Go and score 2 runs. Boom. Like I said, probably could have gotten out of it with a better relay with just 1 run, but again, it didn't happen. So, but you know, Padre Twitter, we got to get rid of this guy. No. I go, maybe send him down, let him get some more experience. But
well, you're going to have somebody new in that position unless you know, Perler pulls off a miracle, because I just don't think they got anything to trade, Jack. I'll say it. I just don't. And I don't want to see DeVries or Salas or Snelling or anything. I don't want to see them go.
Well,
and so if we have to live with what we have because of that, I'm fine. I'm not going to be, you know, on our podcast after the trade deadline going, oh, I can't believe Perler didn't go get anybody. Well, I think we all know what's the problem right now. They don't have a whole lot of money, and they don't have any farm system left.
The problem is Snelling is he's dropped out of the top 100, and they're saying he's lost like 3 miles off his fastball.
Yeah.
So, and he's only like 21. He's still like, he's only 21 or 22. He's not very old. So I don't know if he's hurt. I would think if he's hurt, they would just shut him down.
Right.
And, you know, okay, if I need to get surgery, let's get surgery. I'm still young. But he's having a bad year, and that happens sometimes. You know, even your superstars have bad years. So I'm not willing.
Well, that's why I'm not worried. That's why I'm not worried about our farm system as far as how they're playing down there. Sala's hitting a buck, whatever. I don't care. That's the future. I'm not looking to pull any of those guys up. To me, we have divested our farm system, so to speak, of anybody that we expected to be up here this year. We got who we got. You're going to see Rosario and Wade and Sullivan and guys like that go back and forth, but they've been up here. I'm not, but we don't have anybody down there that we're waiting on and saying, oh, if this guy's maybe even close to being ready, we'll bring him up.
Did they bring Rosario back up? Or
did they
bring him
up?
And did they?
But that's what I'm saying. It kind of goes back and forth,
But did they send him back down, or is he not playing?
He's just not playing, as far as I know.
Okay.
But that's baseball, though. All the teams do that. You got those fringe, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, and they're all just interchangeable. Sometimes you need more bullpen. Sometimes a guy gets hurt, things like that. But my point being, there's not a guy down there that's number 3 prospect in baseball that's like, okay, this is the guy we're waiting for. Do we bring him up now? So short of the trading deadline, and to your point, if we don't go out and get somebody an innings eater or a veteran presence or whatever, then, I got to say, I'm okay with what we got. I'm just nervous. I'm nervous because of injuries more than anything, because, when Vasquez took that line drive, I was my gosh,
no.
Really? Because that would hurt. I mean, not just hurt the elbow, but that would hurt to lose any one of those guys.
He was pitching pretty well that game too.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
He's like,
and so that's what you worry about, or at least that's what I worry about, is we just don't have another guy. I mean, they sent Brito down to start building up his innings, and that's great. But that kind of, like, to me, is plan C. I kind of want to know what plan B is, and hopefully, it is somebody. I don't want to give up the farm to go get Crochet or, somebody like that.
I've changed my
Tyler Anderson or somebody like that,
But I don't know.
But if you can get him cheaper, that's fine.
I don't know if a Tyler Anderson would cost you that much.
Yeah,
they might be trying to just get rid of he has like a year and a half left on his contract. But I was looking. I said, God, that would be nice to have Kirby Yates. He looked good yesterday, and Kirby
was good for us. No, he was good for us. Yeah,
yeah, I like Kirby. He was a good guy, and he was fun. And I was like, wow, he looks like he had that. He has a hard fastball, which is just it's like a bullet going into the. I said, well, the Rangers are struggling. Maybe we could get him pretty cheap.
Yeah.
We could use one more bullpen arm that I could.
Oh, sure.
That I could rely on, even though Matsui has been pitching well.
Yeah.
And Morihone has been pitching well.
No, you can't have enough bullpen. That's the bottom line. I was kind of doing a little scouring, and I'm not going to sit here and say I spent the whole night doing it, but I was kind of looking at a couple of teams that looked like they were in the kind of the trade market. And I got to tell you, man, there's just not a whole lot out there, which, if you're standing with my opinion, that's kind of a good thing, because that means other teams aren't going to be able to get anything really great either. So, I feel like, the Dodgers and the Phillies would be tough in a playoff series, no doubt about it. You're not going to add one or two more players to our squad and make it that much easier. I mean, it's you get into a series with them, it's going to be tough.
Well, you just have to get healthy.
You got to get healthy. Now, having said that, I'd love to get into the 4 spot. Of course, I'm getting greedy, because I'd love to get in the 4 spot so that we could play Milwaukee in the first round as it stood right now.
Instead of the Braves, right?
Well, instead of the Dodgers.
Instead of the Dodgers, okay.
Yeah. Because if you're 4 right now, of course, this is still way early, but if you're playing the Brewers if you're number 4, you're playing the Dodgers if you're number 5, and you're playing the Phillies if you're number 6. So, we've had success against the Dodgers. We've had success against the Brewers. I'd still rather play the Brewers on a short series. I don't want to play the Phillies. The Phillies are just beating everybody up. Let somebody else take a couple of shots at them and maybe, get lucky and knock them out.
Yeah.
That's kind of how they got there last year. They came in at number 6 and got hot, and
Philly. Let's face it, the Philly. I mean, they're missing 2 of their better players right now, but they're still loaded.
Yeah, they're still loaded. So, again, getting ahead of ourselves here, but I just don't think that there's a deal out there that I'm just saying as a Padre fan, like, I'm willing to make. There's just not anybody out there. And I always preface that if somebody's stupid and gives us somebody with 3 years of control, $10 million salary that's a superstar, well then yeah, we'll take him. Yeah. But I don't think there's like Guerrero, you sit there and look at his contract and they go, what, you're renting him for half a year? No, I mean, I'd love to have a Guerrero on our team, of course, but you're not going to get him cheap even if he is only a half a year. Same with Alonso and guys like that.
It's going to cost you a lot. But I don't. Well, New York is, except for the last couple of games, they were on a roll. So there's no way they're gonna. Well, they might dump Alonso just because they're not going to sign him. But like Guerrero would be tempting, but he's making 19 million.
Yeah,
and I think he still has 1 year left of arbitration.
No, I believe he's free agent.
Oh, free agent? Yeah. You can't trade the farm for him because
Bichette's the one that's got I think 1 more year left, but
we don't need another shortstop.
Well, and that's just it. Then you start looking at the position wise, and what are you going to get? And again, I don't think position wise we're at that point where we really need another player, another hitter. I'm perfectly content with where we're at now. Obviously, if Tatis is going to be out for 14 weeks, then then it's time for us to start looking. Only the Padre medical staff and Tatis and Schilt and all those guys know if what the case is with that. I'm hoping this is one of those, we're painting a grim picture, but realistically, he might be back right after the All-Star break or a week after it. Yeah. With that being said, then we don't need a 5th, 6th outfielder just for 2 weeks. Obviously the infield, Bogart's coming back. I just got a good feeling about it. I just got the feeling that he's going to come back strong. I don't know what it is. I just think he's going to come back strong.
He was hitting before he got hurt.
Yeah.
He just started hitting.
Yeah.
So, and he's, again, then you have the whole thing, okay, because I'm kind of, I'm fine. Move Cronenworth back to first, even though he makes some great plays. But we can put him back to first base. Arraez going to have to be your DH, but then you're going to have to find something for Solano.
Yeah.
He's going to have to play. I mean, unfortunately, the help we need the most is in the outfield. Right.
Well, I know you're a big fan, and we all are, of like guys like Solano and Peralta and everything, but they're really not meant to be everyday players. And if they go down to only playing once or twice a week to fill in, that's really the role that we really originally for them was there, and look, the bottom line is everybody still needs some times off, and who knows, maybe Schilt's got the ace up the sleeve that says, what, we'll put Solano or we'll put Cronenworth out in right field for, a few games. I don't know, but that's the problem you have when you've got 7 shortstops.
I do think Cronenworth could play the outfield. And I think
Cronenworth's just like a lot of those guys. They're athletic, and it's give me a few games and I could play out there. But
Solano, like I said at the beginning, I don't think he's an everyday player, but I'd like to see him play at least 3 times a week because what he does in the lineup. I mean, I like batters that work the count. They're making the pitcher work. Yeah. I mean, Manny had an at bat yesterday where it was like 14
pitches,
whatever it was. I mean, he didn't get a hit, but that relief pitcher threw like 50 something pitches.
Yeah.
So.
Well, so here, let me kind of put the perspective on Solano and the Peraltas and guys like that. That's when you have to remember these guys were cut, DFA'd. Yep. So you may be getting the best version of them right now. And I'm an optimist, and I love seeing comebacks, everything, but I'm not sure, this is a long lasting, like, I think we're just getting the best version of these guys right now. And they're coming up at the right time. I love their energy. Not a hater. I just try to keep that in perspective that, these guys were basically on the wood pile and we pulled them off and they performed well for us.
Profar.
But I get a little nervous. Well, same thing with Profar. I get a little nervous when we start talking about, these are our primary starters. They're not really meant to be our primary starters. They're meant to be role players. They're meant to be the backups. And so that's why I want Bogarts back, because this guy's a 10-year guy for us.
Which also helps your bench, because now
exactly
if Bogarts comes back and you have to push a Bryce Johnson to the curb,
right,
kick him to the curb. That's making the team better because Bryce Johnson,
number
he's a great
25
punter.
just keeps getting stronger and stronger because you keep peeling off the layers.
And having a Solano who can come in and pinch hit off the bench, having guys that can pinch hit off the bench are really important. Peralta, I would think he's got to keep hitting to keep his job. Like I said, defensively, he just scares. He just doesn't. He's old. I mean, it happens. He's played a lot of baseball. I just wish he would try and pretend that he's playing against the Padres because he always killed the Padres. Always.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had 2 good games back to back, and the Padres, like I said, what I really the key they need to do is I think some kind of starter. It doesn't have to be a star, but some guy that goes out there because, like we said, it's the offense keeps coming back and making it a game or winning the game. And how, like Jay said, how often can you keep doing that? If you have a pitcher that could go in like 5 innings, 6 innings, and only give up 3 or 4 runs, I think that's a plus. And I think your team would stay mentally into. But when you're like when Cease goes out there and gives up 6 runs in the first 3 innings, you're like going. I mean, me as a fan, I'm like going, all right, screw it, I'm not watching this.
Yeah. Well, again, they don't want to. Sometimes we get into our mindset. I'm not saying you're doing it, but a lot of time we get our mindset. It's like, why is he doing that? Why is he doing that? Why is he walking everybody? And you're like, no, step back and say, do you really think he's trying to walk everybody? Do you really think he's trying to give up runs?
No, he's not. But it's just you look at again. If it was a rookie, but he's got. When you see a guy with an arm like that. It's almost like a hitter, a guy that has a great swing, but for some reason isn't able to read a fastball or he can't. He's just not doesn't have good eye and hand. Whatever it is, just can't. You go, God, how is this guy not a superstar? And then you have a guy like Cease. You go, God, this guy is just he literally blows pitches by people. You can see it almost on every time he throws a ball that he doesn't. His face, he turns around and he does that thing where he looks like he's probably.
Well, I don't agree with his body language. I think especially as a pitcher, you need to be about as stoic as any position on the field. You don't let them know what's getting to you. Don't let it get irritated. Things like that. I pull up my Rubin Nebula. It's the package. It's the full package that you got to look at. And look, I'm 60 going to be 66 years old here real soon.
Damn, you're an old bastard.
I am an old guy, right? But what I can tell you is the more I watch baseball, the more I learn that you got to have patience. You can't just expect everybody to go out there and play their A game every game. It just doesn't. No. And pitchers, Mark Grant always says, the life of a starting pitcher can be pretty rough. We sit here and say, the Joe Musgrove commercial. Oh, what do I do between starts? I go out and keep my swing and shows him with a golf club and all that. It's like, dude, you're doing a disservice to every starter out there because Mark Grant put it the best way. It's like, you go out and you pitch a great game. Well, then, the next 4 or 5 days are great. Like, oh, this is lovely, man. Oh, yeah, this is fun. If you go out and throw a stinker, you got to carry that around for 4 or 5 days.
Well, and if there's a day off, longer.
Yeah.
And you got again, that's why I would have trouble being. I always said, what would I rather be, a starter or a reliever? And I think I'd rather be a starter just because a reliever, if I blew a game, I wouldn't be able to sleep that night. I would, if I had a bad game pitching to start, I'd be like, okay, I sucked. And I'd replay the game in my head like I do everything in life. But I'd be like, okay, all right, I'm gonna get him next time. But it's just, I'm not saying Cease has to win every single time out, but I don't expect him to go out there and just get blown out. And it's frustrating when he does because you're like going, because then you start thinking, okay, now we got the rookie going the next day, and I'm thinking, okay, you're thinking we're doing pretty well. We're 5 games over 500. We're not 20 games over 500. So you're like, okay, crap, we have to. And it's funny, yesterday, though, when the bullpen came in and started shutting him down, I go, okay, we're going to win this game. For some reason, I just said, okay, we're going to win this game because the bullpen was on. But I just think, your big guys, they have to perform. And like I said, he's had some really good games. He's had some really bad games, but I think it's his body language, like you said. He lets the batter know that he's frustrated. He lets the umpire know he's frustrated. He's letting everybody know he's frustrated. And I get it. He for some reason he does seem to get cheated on calls where he was like, how is that not a strike? But he also gets upset when he throws a ball too high or out of the strike zone. He's mad at himself. Yeah. Again, I'm okay with it once in a while, but it's almost like every single pitch that doesn't go his way, he's pissed.
Yeah, I can't disagree. Like I said, I'm not in favor of his body language, but like I said, I keep trying to remember back the first about 7 or 8 games that he, 7 of the first 8 games he pitched, he was a stud. He's 6 quality starts in a row or something like that, and he was just firing. I think that's the frustration all fans have when their favorite player or somebody they look and say, oh, this guy's going to do it all, and everything. Heck, I get upset when Jackson Merrill strikes out because I don't think he should ever strike out. He's become my favorite player.
He had one of his worst at bats of the season day when he struck out.
Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible. He took 3 awful swings. He let one go down and then he didn't realize it was one. He didn't realize it was strike 3. I go, oh, good, he fouled it off. They go, oh no, he's out. I go, okay, he's just rookie. It's okay. Yeah,
I mean, you do expect because he has such a sweet swing, but
exactly,
again, he's not good.
But you sit there and you look at the stats like I have every once in a while. I don't try to dwell on the stats, but you look and you say he struck out 45 times. When? I don't remember him striking out.
No.
So it's the body of work, and that's why we always, us baseball nerds love our stats. We love, what's their on base percentage, what's their batting average, what's their slugging, how many home runs do they have, where are they compared to everybody in the league. And I think that's where I find solace with the Padres as an offense. That's why I'm not worried about the offense, because I look and we're top tier in almost every category. We're scoring. We're in top 5 of almost, runs, home runs, batting average, you name it. We're there. Our bullpen got beat up for about a month there, and I think that's really the difference in the season right now. And I'm not saying it's their fault, but there's no doubt about it. For about 3 or 4 weeks there. Hey, welcome back, Jay.
How was fireworks?
Fireworks over?
No, it's storming. It's pouring rain. I got stuck there in the torrential downstorm, but I'm back. Keep going.
Well,
is it raining?
We were talking about the 1 month where the bullpen really, I mean, when you put the season on the whole, that's really the difference in why the Padres are not 12, 15 games up. Because for 1 month, they stunk. It wasn't just kind of bad. They were really bad. Peralta and De Los Santos and Matsui were giving up the world in games that we were winning. Not the we're down 7-2 and they gave up even more runs. I'm talking about games we gave away. The offense is fine, and we've been talking, Jay, about a little bit about maybe what the Padres need to do. And my statement is, if Preller doesn't do anything, I'm okay.
Ooh, okay.
I'm okay at the trade deadline because I don't think there's enough farm system to get anybody really great. There's not enough money to get anybody really great. And I don't think tinkering around is really going to be the answer, with the small exception of what Jack has said, maybe another bullpen arm. To me, it doesn't need to be the high end. We're talking
Kirby Yates.
Yeah.
Kirby Yates.
That's high end. Yeah, that's high end, Jack.
Well, but good for him.
He's like 38 or 39. I mean, what could they expect to get back for him? I mean, I'm not going to give him a top minor league prospect for him. If they want something, I'll take him.
Well, can I just say that I agree? I think we're okay. I don't know if you saw. I don't know which article it was in. It was clipped in, I think, Too Much Morton's Twitter account. But Crochet, if he doesn't sign an extension, there's going to be innings limitations for Crochet.
Yeah, I read that today. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, well, we don't need another hater. We don't need another the agents dictating how much we can use him. It's not worth it. This guy's not he's got great stuff, but he's not a superstar. Who's he to dictate? Who's he to dictate what I'm going to do? We don't need. Hader was, I think people say Soto. I think Hader was a big problem with the team last year, obviously. 100%.
And I think he brought the team down because of his attitude. Well, I'm not going to get hurt until I sign a big contract. Jesus, you're making $19 million. What more do you need?
I agree it's a bad look, and it's not a team first thing. But I will say the Brewers screwed him over in arbitration, right? And so I get where I understand. I get where he has the chip on his shoulder, though, because he was doing multiple innings, multiple outs. Yeah. And they, in arbitration, Brewers won the arbitration case, not giving him more money, saying that wasn't valuable to them. So it's like, fine, if this isn't valuable to you, to these teams, then F you. I'm only doing, 3 innings. But
again, if he has a different attitude last year, we make the playoffs.
I agree. It was really two games.
And anything could happen.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree.
And not to retread a whole lot, but to me, you brought up Hader, you brought up Soto, and to me, not being in the clubhouse, of course, I saw 2 different problems. With Hader, it was the attitude of me, not the team.
Yeah.
He said it. I mean, come on, we're not guessing. Yeah. He said it.
No, he said it.
Yeah, he said it. Soto, to me, I think the aggravation with the team is screw the walks. Swing at a pitch.
Hit the damn ball.
I mean, I know it irritated me because there were times where you're like, okay, we got Soto up. Okay. And he's sitting there looking at a 3-2 fastball down the middle, and you're like, okay, maybe that was a hair outside, but I don't need a walk. You're up there to hit him in,
Yeah.
And I think that was part of the problem last year with Soto that a lot of people had. And of course, in September, when he knew that, I guess we're not going to make. All of a sudden, he started swinging those pitches, and what's he do? He has probably one of the best Septembers in Padre history.
Absolutely. People keep saying the whole season, but it really was when we were already out of it that he just went on a tear that really bumped up all his numbers.
But brought us back into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, like going like you're saying, Jerry, if he has that attitude all season, we're in the playoffs.
Right.
And who knows, with a healthy Tatis, Machado, our pitching staff was really good last season.
Yeah.
We had lost Musgrove, but we still had Lugo and Waka.
And Snell, Cy Young.
And Snell, Cy Young Award. And Darvish. Was Darvish?
No, Darvish was out.
Was hurt.
They were both out. Well, Darvish was shut down.
Yes.
Because they felt there was no need to bring him back because of the long term, like, hey, we're pretty much out of this. And, the late run aside, they were out of it. I mean, I don't blame them for that decision. Yeah.
And the bullpen, even with Hader with his attitude, it was still pretty good last year.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Suarez was the setup to Hader, right?
Right.
But yeah, I don't want a guy like, when I read that, I said, no, we don't need a guy this because we were talking about earlier. Jerry mentioned the clubhouse chemistry. It seems to be pretty good. You don't want to bring that rotten egg in there that's going to stink up the joint, and it could just be one guy. One guy could just be, and that being said, if Soto hits the open market and he wants to come back to the Padres, the door is open.
I wonder, guys, and it's probably a question we can't answer, right? But a question for you guys. How much sway or say do you think Schilt and maybe a Machado or a Musgrove or, one of those leaders in the clubhouse have with Preller on any possible trade coming in?
Oh, I think it's big.
Yeah.
Especially Machado. He was really close to the owner. Yeah. I think he does have a lot of say who comes to the team, who doesn't come to the team.
Yep.
That being said, I don't know if they would say, no, we don't want Soto.
Yeah.
They always seem to get along.
No, I'm talking about any type of a trade that Preller's about ready to maybe make or not make coming up, because again, we see it. We've heard it. This clubhouse is like this now.
Yeah.
It was like this before.
I think you need to consult them. I do think you need to consult them. Right?
I mean, I probably Schilt probably, of course.
Absolutely.
But I wonder how much it brings in the players. Go ahead, Jad.
Well, because they have in the past. So like when Bogarts was brought on, I think it was an AC article or something. They asked Machado first before they even started making offers to him. And Machado was like, yeah, sure.
Well, especially a long-term deal like that. Yeah. It's like, hey, you're going to be playing next to this guy for 10 years. I kind of want to know if you're going to get along.
Absolutely. but so I would assume there would be some, to your point, especially the chemistry's so good right now. Like I would assume so. You're going to ask your 10-year contract players, hey, you good with this. But I would say Profar as well, even though he's on a 1-year contract, he is the glue. He's, they've said he's the glue guy. Yeah. But I think what Profar brings is anybody you bring in, he's going to hold them accountable to whatever culture they have set there. for better.
Yeah, and it's one thing to say that. It's another, if you bring in the bad egg, the bad egg's a bad egg. I mean, you guys like to watch reality shows like I used to. You can't contain it. If you're on Big Brother or Survivor or any of those shows, you could pretend to be somebody for about a week.
Yeah,
and then the real you is going to come out.
Well, it's the culture. It's the culture cancer, right? Like, and if it can take hold, and absolutely, because you look at 2021, our implosion on 2021. We went from getting Trey Turner and I don't know if Trey Turner was part of it, but definitely Scherzer was part of that trade that got blown up. Instead, we got, who did we get? It was Adam Frazier and who was else?
Oh, that was the year we went through Arrieta and
brutal.
Yeah, we were picking up everybody that used to be anybody.
They were calling me, and I said, "I don't think I can do it. My arm is done."
and so it just and then that was the Tatis Machado meltdown in the locker or in the dugout.
Yeah,
right.
And
then, to be fair, Tatis was acting like a spoiled brat.
He was been, and he's come a long way. He's matured a lot. But
takes
anyway,
one to know one.
But to the Soto point, there was that Talking Baseball earlier this week. I sent you that link to that episode. I think it was like Tuesday or Monday this week, where it was because James Wood came up on Monday. He had his debut. Right. So all the baseball talking heads were like, do the Padres regret trading for Soto because we gave a lot of talent to the Nationals?
We did give a lot of talent.
We did.
For a very talented player.
Yes. But in that conversation, it was like, well, what's to say they don't just bring Soto back? Because apparently there's a kind of silent partner that has deep pockets. What's your thoughts on that? That was kind of like a weird little blip in Padres land, or at least just in the fandom of just kind of talking like, what is going on? Like I heard drug cartels and Saudi money. Like I was just hearing all sorts of different things. But like,
the one thing I'd say, Jay, is the media is the media. And look, I'm not even in sports. It's politics. It's the universe that we live in today. Yeah. And I don't think it's right, but anybody can say anything and get away with it. know. So the reality is Soto's not coming back. I don't see it. I don't see it.
Final prediction: you say Soto's not coming back?
Soto's not coming back.
I say 50,
I will predict he's going to one of the two. I say he goes to one of the two New York teams. It's going to be a bidding war.
If the Yankees don't win, because they're if they keep collapsing like they are, I don't see him going back to the Yankees.
No.
And why would you? And I'll be honest, why go to the Mets?
Because they have the money.
They have the money. I mean,
they give him $600 million.
I don't think Soto cares about winning. I'll say
clearly.
I don't think he cares about winning. He's playing for the top dollar.
That's it. And that's where I don't necessarily mind if he doesn't come back. But like look at the Yankees right now. They have completely imploded. Yeah. It is not going. I mean, it's a bad run. They can come back from it, whatever. But being swept by the Reds at home.
Yeah.
It's not a good situation.
That was not the big red machine.
No.
Well, the bottom line is they're proving what happened to the Padres last year. They lost Rizzo. The back of their lineup is stinking right now.
Yeah.
And you know what? Judge is almost unhuman.
Yeah.
And Soto's obviously still a great player, and they've got other couple of good players, but you can't live off of half a lineup.
Yep.
Well, no matter how good they are.
Shortstop, what's it?
Volpe.
Yeah.
He's. I know because it's on my fantasy team, and I keep going each week. Do I cut him? I go, God, I know the minute I cut him, he's going to just go because that guy.
Because he was amazing at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. He was.
Yeah.
He was
the guy
great.
for Baltimore was Standard or Stond, whatever it is. His first month was just terrible. I go, I need some hitting. Yeah. So I cut him, and now he had 13, 14 home runs in June, and I go. Yeah, of course. I cut him. It didn't matter.
Jay, you weren't here, but that's why we always talk about the whole body of work. You can't look at a week. You can't look at a month. You got to look at the whole body.
To be fair, I had guys that he wasn't even starting because I had Tatis, Schwaber, but anyway. But you're
coming up on 10 minutes left in the episode.
Wait, you're saying I just want to say something. Team chemistry.
Yes.
I remember when Ricky Henderson, because Jerry, I think last week you said you hated Ricky Henderson. My biggest concern when he came to the Padres, that's when the Padres in the mid 90s were really good.
Yeah.
And they had a really good team. Like, I don't know if I want Ricky Henderson on this team. He could destroy the chemistry. Turned out to be the best guy. The players loved him.
Yeah.
It was just the press, how they would portray Ricky Henderson.
Well, he was an eccentric guy, in all fairness to the press.
He was
egocentric.
Yeah, he was, but he was a good teammate.
Ricky in third person.
Yeah,
this guy loved baseball so much. He was playing in that league,
independent league,
independent dogs. I mean,
we went and saw him. Yeah,
he didn't have to play in that kind of league.
Yeah,
but he loved baseball, and it's like, wow, that was not the image that he was portrayed by the press. Anyway, I love Ricky.
Same.
Jack
I love Ricky.
likes Ricky.
I love Ricky as well. Let's plus this one in here from Tamara Gladfelter. What do you think of the All-Star starters? First starters. Let's talk about Tatis, first player to be named a starting shortstop or infielder, and then also named a starting outfielder. What thoughts on that? And also, I just love seeing all the Dodger fans. Teoscar should have been a steady. But what's your thoughts on Tatis?
Well, he deserved it. But you know what? I always say this about All-Stars. There's a lot of times where you can make an argument for two or three different guys, But yeah, the haters can hate. The Philly fans tried to push Castellano and Marsh in there. They probably took votes away from Hernandez, to be quite honestly. So thank you, Philly fans. But look, he's deserving as well as Profar.
And Merrill too. I think they're the top, or at least top 3 in WAR for outfielders.
Well, that's the thing. I was saying it earlier to my son. I honestly could make a case where Merrill should be the replacement for Tatis.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I mean, I don't think don't get me wrong. Teoscar Hernandez is having a great year too. So don't even make Merrill the starter. I'm just saying that I think he's one of the top 6 outfielders.
I think with injury,
by metrics, defense and offense, yes, he is.
But he won't make it because the Padres are probably going to be limited on how many guys they can have, because the Phillies already have 3 infielders. They're going to have at least 2 pitchers. They're going to run out of spots.
Yeah,
and you got to get the Colorado guy in. You got to get this team in.
Yeah, that's the problem. You got guys that shouldn't be. But it's funny on Twitter today. This Dodger fan was upset that Hernandez didn't get in there. He goes, Hernandez has done this and this and this year after year after year, and Profar finally has a good year after 11 years, and we're all saying, who wants to tell him the All-Star game is for this year?
Yes.
It's not what you did the other 10 years. And they put the stats up. Hernandez is having a great year, but Profar is having, stat-wise, a better year.
He's second in the National League in average. He's first in on-base percentage. He's first or second in WAR, I think. He's ahead of Teoscar Hernandez. So, I'm sorry. He's just... And, I would say there was a risk Profar doesn't get voted in because he doesn't have the name recognition, but his play was so good, and it's such a compelling story when you go, and you can blame your teammate Will Smith probably for calling him irrelevant, because it's just become such a feel-good story this season.
If you really want to point fingers at anyone, point fingers at the Dodger fans who have more fans across the nation than the Padres fans. Why didn't they vote him in? If he's so damn good, vote him in.
Yeah.
They got one guy in, Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah. Which, again, I think it's because you need votes that aren't your core fan. And Tatis has fans everywhere. So many kids love Tatis. Yeah. And I just think more people hate the Dodgers. You have your Dodger fans, but everyone's like, F the Dodgers. I don't want to vote on the Dodger.
I think also this year when the way they signed Ohtani pissed people off.
Of course.
It pissed off the baseball fan base. And I think because the Dodgers were never really, when you think teams you hate, you think of, the Yankees are the probably number one, maybe the Red Sox. A lot of people hate the Red Sox. The Dodgers, we hate the Dodgers, but it's not but I think after with the crap because they don't win a lot of World Series. That's one of them. I'm just going to throw it out there. But the way they signed Ohtani and the way they did it, it pissed people off.
Yeah.
Well, look, I'll tell you this about the whole All-Star thing. I'm not a big fan of the All-Star game. I never have been. It's an exhibition game, and quite honestly,
when I was a kid.
Quite honestly, it is more of a personality contest than I think than anything else. It's based loosely on stats, no doubt about it. But we've seen 220 hitters get voted in, and so you can't get wrapped up into it too far and everything. And the fact of the matter is, the game doesn't mean anything, and thank goodness it doesn't mean anything anymore, because that was the stupidest.
That was the dumbest thing. Now it counts.
Yeah, now it counts. But the bottom line is it's a fans game, and as long as you look at it from the perspective of it's a fans game, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
but if we start trying to argue the merits of baseball player versus baseball player stat wise, you've lost the point. The point is the fans want to see these players. They voted them in. Yeah. I quite honestly think the fans should vote every player in. I think it should be. And you know what? Get rid of this. Every team has to have an all-star. Just put the best, the fan favorites out there. Take the top 6 outfielders, top 2 at every position, and call it a day. And here's my last thought, because I'm ranting right now. Because
you are. So let's wrap it up. Finish your final thought here. Go ahead.
Why aren't they picking the pitchers? Why aren't they picking the pitchers? Why shouldn't fans be able to pick the pitchers?
I agree with you, Jerry. Let them pick everything, and you're going to tell me if some team gets a 220 hitter because they have one all-star.
Right.
I got to watch it because Joe Blow is made the all-star team and he's on my team. No, they want to see Aaron Judge. They want to see guys that are going to be Hall of Famers someday. Because when I was a kid, and I was like Mark Grant said, I was the same way. I watched the All-Star game because it was, you're seeing guys like, Reggie Jackson, Johnny Bench, Pete Rose. The list goes on and on and on. That's why I watched
Fred Kendall.
Game. And Fred
Kendall and Chris Cannizzaro. And
that's why I watched. I didn't care if a Padre was in there.
Well, let's just say I hear you all, but I agree with Tamara here. I think it's important for your team to represent, because even when the Padres would only have a reliever, I was like, okay, at least there's my guy. I have a reason to watch this.
Not if they don't deserve it.
I don't disagree, but that's a discussion for another day. Maybe we do an all-star.
Just don't call it an all-star game, and I'm okay, Jay.
We'll do it. We'll do an all-star break, because we are going to have an all-star break show.
Yes, we are
on the 18th.
All right.
So maybe we can dig into it more then.
All right.
All right. So we have the D-backs. We have the D-backs with a 3-game series, and the Mariners with only a 2-game series before our next podcast. So only 5 games. Jerry,
I like the days off.
No, I'm not going first. I suck.
No. Okay, Jack, what's your pick here?
I'm going to say we're going to go. We always struggle against the Mariners. I don't know why. And the Mariners they're in first place. They're playing some good ball. D-backs. I think what's his name is pitching tonight, so we're missing him. What's his name there? Gallon. He's pitching tonight, so we're missing him. I'm going to say it. I say we go 4-1 because the D-backs are using a lot of bullpen games.
Okay, 4-1. I'm going to say 3-2. I'm going to say 3-2. A 500 stretch, not crushing it. That's my guess. Jerry, what's your thought?
The wheels came off. I'm going 5-0. I think these are 2 teams that we can beat.
Okay, if we go 0-5,
I think we're positioned well. No, I think we're positioned well. I know the D-backs. We struggle usually when we play the D-backs in Arizona more than anything. The one caveat is we need to stop Christian Walker. He is on fire right now. Ridiculous.
2,000 OPS.
Yeah, ridiculous fire. If we can stop him.
All right, so he's but he does well in Dodger Stadium.
Yeah,
right.
Clearly.
Well, he's been a thorn in our side before, but you brought up a good point. One of the reasons I'm saying 5-0 is because I knew Gallon is pitching. So if he's not pitching, we have a better chance. And we thrashed him in Arizona. I mean, except for the Waldron, knuckleball gone awry game, we thrashed them.
Well, you talk about a team that's been hurt by injuries. The Diamondbacks, their pitching has been just devastated by injuries, and Montgomery can't get anybody out. So sucks to be them.
It does, and we'll see how it plays out over this week of Padres baseball. Hit the subscribe button and the bell so you don't miss any of our episodes. We'll be back next Thursday on the 11th at 8:15 Eastern Standard Time.
Well, 8:15 or whenever Jay decides to get on.
Exactly. We'll see you all next
time. Why
should
next show be any different?
Hasta luego. And goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Arrivederci.